If you've got debt, you know how hard it can be to escape that. So today we're uncovering the 7 biggest lies about debt, especially those lies that target low-income Americans and keep them stuck. And we're doing this so that you can break free and take control of your financial future. Let's start by busting one of the most fear-inducing lies out there. I'm talking about the myth that debt collectors can call you whenever they want, and they can even put you in jail. Now, that is a lie, but I've seen firsthand how aggressive some debt collectors can be, especially around certain times and seasons when they think that you might have extra cash. They'll use scare tactics like threatening to call your employer, show up at your house, or even have you arrested. I've personally received phone calls from debt collectors who claimed that someone was on their way to serve my lawsuit papers and that I needed to pay immediately to avoid being sued. These people like to say that if someone shows up with papers, it's too late. But let me tell you, most of that is just hot air. Now, I'm not a lawyer, and this is not legal advice. If you have specific legal concerns, you absolutely should always contact an attorney. But the truth is that debt collectors are bound by the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. This law protects you from harassment and deceptive practices. They can't threaten you with jail, use abusive language, or call you at unreasonable hours. If a debt collector crosses that line, you have the right to report them to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau or your state's attorney general. Knowing your rights is crucial, so don't let fear paralyze you. When I receive calls like that, I've learned that the best approach is to stay calm and assertive. Their goal is to incite fear, because fear can make you act irrational and propel you to take quick action without thinking it through. Instead, take a deep breath, steady yourself, ask for their information, including the name of the collection agency, the original creditor you allegedly owed, and the amount of the debt they claim that you owe. Tell them you're going to need to see the chain of assignment in writing. Now, a chain of assignment is the paperwork that shows that this company that's contacting you even has the right to collect on that debt at all. If they refuse to provide this information or continue to use threatening or bullying tactics, politely end the call and report them to the appropriate authorities. Remember, you're not alone in this. There are laws in place to protect you and resources available to help you navigate the complexities of debt collection. Now that you know your rights when dealing with the debt collectors, let's address another dangerous myth, and this is that ignoring debt collectors will make them go away. Trust me, this could not be further from the truth. In fact, it can make things a whole lot worse. I have seen too many people bury their heads in the sand, hoping their debt problems will magically disappear, but ignoring those collection calls and letters won't make the debt go away. It can escalate the situation, leading to lawsuits and even wage garnishment. That's when they take money out of your paycheck before you even get it, and if you're not paid a wage, sometimes they can garnish your bank accounts instead. If a debt collector sues you, it may be tempting to ignore it. Many people do. In fact, Pew Charitable Trusts found that more than 90% of people don't even file an answer when they're sued for a debt. They might be too scared, too overwhelmed, or they simply don't know what to do and can't afford a lawyer. But not answering a lawsuit can have devastating consequences. The court can enter a default judgment against you, which basically gives the debt collector everything they're asking for. And when they get that judgment, they can even get permission to garnish your wages or your tax returns or your bank accounts and seize your assets. It's awful. So even if you can't afford to pay right now, don't ignore the problem. If you're sued for a debt, the first thing you need to do is check out our sponsor, SoloSuit. They have an easy guided tool that can help you file a formal response in just a few minutes without paying for a full-priced attorney. And this way, you don't risk a default judgment on your debt. You can also try reaching out to the creditor or collection agency to try to negotiate a payment plan. I once diverted a lawsuit for an auto repossession by reaching out and offering to settle for about 10% of what they were asking for. They accepted those terms and then dropped the lawsuit. You can also seek help from a credit counselor or a legal aid organization if there's one in your area. Now that you know there's help available if you're feeling overwhelmed by debt, let's tackle another myth that can keep people trapped in a cycle of fear and hopelessness. This is the lie that debt lasts forever. Debt collectors love it when people believe this because they want us to believe that they can hound us forever and ever and ever, no matter how old the debt is. But the truth is that most debts do have a statute of limitations that can help you out. After a certain period, which varies by state and type of debt, those collectors can no longer sue you to to collect. That doesn't necessarily mean that the debt disappears, it just significantly limits what they can do about it. They can't sue you, and after a while it won't even show up on your credit report either. So if you're dealing with old debts, don't assume that you're stuck forever. Do some research to find out the statute of limitations in your state. Knowledge is power, and understanding this concept can help you make informed decisions about how to handle your debt going forward. Now that we've busted the myth on endless debt collection, let's tackle another common misconception that can keep you feeling powerless. You can't negotiate your debt. Many people believe this, and they think that once you owe money, you're at the mercy of the creditors, but that's not necessarily true. You have more leverage than you might think. In fact, I've personally settled debts with dozens of different debt collectors, often for as little as 50% or sometimes even less of the original balance. That's because many times these debts are sold for pennies on the dollar, so collectors are willing to take less just to get something. In my experience, I've only ever encountered 2 companies that refuse to negotiate with me. So don't be afraid to reach out and try to negotiate. Just make sure that before you pay anything, you have a letter in your hands that says that that amount will settle the account in full. Otherwise, things can get a little bit complicated later on. Now remember, the worst they can do is say no, but you might be surprised at how willing they are to work with you. The key is to be prepared, know your rights, and approach the conversation with confidence and respect. So now that we've seen how negotiation can help, let's talk about a type of debt that hits close to home for many, especially those with low incomes. And I'm talking about medical debt. It's easy to assume that medical debt is just like any other debt, but that's not entirely true. There are some key differences that can work in your favor here. First, medical debt is often seen as less of a reflection on your financial responsibility and more of a consequence of unforeseen circumstances. Government regulations for medical debt have been rapidly changing, and some credit bureaus are even starting to treat medical debt differently, reducing its impact on your credit score or even removing it from your credit report altogether. Hospitals and medical providers are also under increased pressure to properly bill insurance, properly offer their charity care programs, and more. That's because there's been so many instances of people struggling to pay off crushing debts that they never should have owed in the first place because they were eligible for assistance programs. Now, we have a lot of information about all of that in some of our other videos, but sometimes you can even apply for these programs retroactively. After my husband was hospitalized in 2019, we received a hefty bill that should have been fully covered by insurance. Even though that bill was placed in collections, we ended up working directly with the hospital to get it resolved. Having a debt collector in the middle definitely made it more complicated, but it didn't necessarily make it impossible. So of course, there are a lot of lies about credit cards and other forms of debt as well. One of the most common ones is that paying the minimum balance is enough to get you out of debt, which is not true. Sure, making the minimum payment each month might make you feel like you're keeping up, and it might keep your credit score from crashing, but in reality, you're barely scratching the surface. Most, if not all of that payment usually goes toward interest, not the actual principal balance. That means that your debt is still there and you end up paying way more in the long run. It's like trying to fill a leaky bucket with a tiny spoon. You're constantly pouring money in, but it's draining out faster than you can replenish it. It's a frustrating and disheartening cycle, and it's exactly what the credit card companies want. And it's not just credit cards. Many of us who borrowed student loans have made payments for a decade or more, only to end up owing more now than we did when we started. Watching the balances climb as you struggle to make those payments can make everything feel hopeless, but there is a way to break free from that trap, and it starts with understanding the true cost of minimum payments and exploring strategies to pay down your debt faster. Even a few dollars a month can make a big difference in the long run. So we've debunked some major debt myths, but there are a couple more we need to address before we wrap up here. These ones often pop up when you're already feeling desperate and looking for a way out. We're talking about the lies that claim that debt consolidation is a quick fix, and the fear that filing for bankruptcy will ruin your credit forever. Debt consolidation can seem appealing. It promises to simplify your payments and potentially lower your interest rates, but it's not always a magic bullet. Consolidation loans often come with fees, and if you don't address the underlying spending habits that got you into debt in the first place, you could end up in an even bigger hole. And then there's bankruptcy. It's often seen as a last resort, a financial scarlet letter that will haunt you for the rest of your life. But the truth is that bankruptcy can offer a fresh start sometimes. While it does impact your credit score, it's not a permanent mark. It does go away after 7 to 10 years, depending on the type of bankruptcy. And in some cases, it might be a good option to regain control of your finances and rebuild your life. The key takeaway here is that there's no one-size-fits-all solution to debt. Debt consolidation and bankruptcy are tools that can be helpful in certain situations, but they're not quick fixes and they come with their own set of challenges. It's crucial to weigh all of your options carefully and seek professional advice before making any major decisions. If you're struggling with significant amounts of debt, especially if they're medical or credit card debt, our sponsor CareConnect USA has a hotline that you can call for personalized assistance. You can reach them at the number on screen, and they can help you figure out the different options that are available to you. Now go check out more of our videos for some exciting ways that you can save money and get free stuff.